And so we've got a 700,000 plus shortfall this year. And so if we, and right now, the closing of the school, and that's a savings, and there can be some dispute over whether it's $500,000 or 80,000, or even if it's south of that. But if we don't do that, then something else has to give. Not thinking about 2 years, but we have to do something else this year in this budget. And whether that's, you know, more fund balance or more cuts in other areas, you know, we're not just, you know, there's a real consequence to it. There's a real cost to it. And so we can't just think about this in terms of we can defer this decision for a year and not assume that it's going to affect this coming budget year, because it still has to impact this coming budget year. And decisions will have to be made about just how much we dip into savings or how much of additional programming we cut to keep this. So there's a real cost for, you know, keeping this open, whether it's for 1 year, that cost has to be paid for. And, you know, maybe the answer is that we want to dip into our fund balance, but that means we have less fund balance 2 years from now to dip into, to soften cuts that we know need to be made that year. And I don't think any of us got on this board because we said, boy, we love cutting spending on schools. I think everybody's here because we believe in schools, we believe in public education. You know, I don't think we're here because we don't want to be with our families on Monday nights. But, you know, we either make this decision now and we realize these cuts, or we make the decision that we're going to have to cut something else probably in the coming year. Because as much as we like to think that the state might, you know, that leadership on the state level might change, or that there might be some magical political realignment that's going to put more money into public schools, it's probably not going to happen. At least not right away. Even if everybody in Madison, and make no mistake about it, we wouldn't be making this decision if certain actions hadn't been taken in Madison. We would probably not be sitting here talking about this, but they have, and that's the reality we're living in. But the likelihood of us seeing revenue growth from the state the year after next is probably pretty close to zero. And I wish that wasn't the case, but that's probably the reality that we're going to be living with. So if we choose to delay, understand that, I think we all have to understand, to be honest with all these people and everybody in this town that are in this community, that that's going to mean something else has to give. And, you know, it's like any, you know, just like our budget at home. If you're going to spend more savings, it means that if next year you need them for something, if we have a problem, if we have some facilities needs, or if we have identified cuts, or what if the state comes back? Craig referenced, you know, there's 143, it's actually a $208 million shortfall on the state level if you count the structural deficit. That could grow. You know, the Federal Reserve just projected that Wisconsin is one of 4 states in the country that has an economy projected to shrink over the next 6 months. You know, not a great picture. So the likelihood of us seeing increased revenue from the state is pretty dim at this point. So I think we've just got to be eyes wide open and honest with everybody that this is not going to be a free decision to do this. And I understand where Fritz is coming from. I'm not, you know, there's some particular provisions of this that I'm not thrilled with. And I worry about an additional 100 kids at Spruce. My kids go to Spruce, and I think it's crowded. And I'd like to see some innovation. Ted, you said it very well at the budget retreat. Look at these things as changes, not necessarily cuts, and think about innovating going forward. And I'd like to see us do more of that. And I understand that maybe a year buys us that opportunity, but buy is the correct terminology, because we have to pay for it. So when we make this decision tonight, and I think it's important that we do make this decision tonight, we have to understand that there is a real cost, and it is a dollar cost, and it is a cost that the staff and the students of this district are going to pay if we choose to not realize these savings this year.
I think, Richard, we all knew that we're going to have to use a portion of fund balance.